Cool. So we have a few people with us. We'll get started really quick. Thank you for joining us, Girish, on this beautiful evening. Okay. So for
Thank you, Sarah.
everybody who has joined us for the first time or has not got a chance to look at the event details, Girish here has 7 years of experience. He graduated from IIT Jodhpur back in 2013. He started his career with one of the fastest growing companies back then, which was housing, and then moved on to build his own startup. Had a stint with Freecharge and has been with Microsoft for the last 3+ years. So, if I summarize it, Girish has seen all different spectrums of tech and how tech has evolved in our company. The age of housing, the infamous age of housing, and even companies like Microsoft. You have been with Microsoft for almost 3 years now. So, yeah, hello, Girish. Thank you for joining us. Anything that you would like to add to that? Anything that our viewers should know about you?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summarized about my career. So yeah, we can get started on deeper aspects in those different areas, like working in a startup, trying my own attempt in building a startup, and then finally joining Microsoft and being there for over last 3 years. Yeah.
Right. Got it. So maybe I think a good point for everybody to start and to know you better would be who you are, where you come from, where did you grow up, which city, which part of India, how was your early education? Maybe you can tell us more about that.
Yes, definitely. So basically, I was born and brought up in Orange City, Nagpur. So I did my schooling from there. I was in Nagpur for till class 10th. Then I was born in a typical middle class family, and after because I was good at studies, then everybody were like, why not just prepare for IIT? So then went to Kota after class 10th, spent my 2 years there, and then finally got into IIT Jodhpur. There I spent the next 4 years, and then got into the corporate world. Yeah, that's me.
Got it. Thank you for walking us through that. So Nagpur is quite famous for its oranges, like you said, Orange City.
And it's pretty hot these days.
Are you in Nagpur right now?
No, I'm in Bangalore right now.
You're in Bangalore right now. I think COVID-19 has as a standard in all different places. Some people have gone back to their hometowns and are stuck there. Some of us are stuck here in our work locations. Okay, so from a small town of Nagpur and from humble background to Microsoft, what was that first step? What got you interested in computers and in development in general?
So I would say those are like two different things. I mean, the way I looked at computers earlier was different. Like I loved playing games, so mostly it was just limited to that. Like never really thought of getting into software development until college, to be frank. So basically, my first interaction with computer is kind of a very kind of have a happy sad feeling to it in a way. So basically, I can go through my experience. So it was in I think KG2 or first class. So basically, given that I'm from a middle class background, and even our neighborhood wasn't really that rich, so nobody really had the PC at their home. So in the neighborhood, some computer studio opened up. So everybody were kind of the parents were excited to kind of send their kids to those game that computer studio. So everybody kind of went there, all the kids there. So the very first application that I used was Microsoft Paint. So so basically the computer studio guys, they actually organized some competition where they kind of first gave a simple demo of how the Microsoft Paint worked, kind of gave a basic tutorial to all the kids there, and then kind of asked everybody to kind of draw something, and then they would have some prize for somebody who can draw some good things using Microsoft Paint.
Awesome. Awesome.
So yeah, Microsoft Paint was in general my the first application that I was excited about.
Right, right. And I think, if correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of us during childhood have a very different image of computers in our mind.
Yes, right.
Okay, so what I was talking about when we got disconnected, because I am also from a computer science background. When we were in school, we had a very different image of computers, right? Games.
Right.
We used to all play Dave, and we used to play Prince of Persia and whatnot, and we used to play Road Rash, and we used to build, like, the even the development bit was so much fun because you would do all your things like logo, RD50, FD90, and build shapes and everything. And then suddenly, when you go to college, it's very different. It's, C, C++, Java, and whatnot, and you're getting. I did not sign up for this. So, did you also have a similar realization that, yeah, this is very different from what I did in school?
Yes, exactly. I mean, I was like more into games. Like for me, computers were like just a machine to play games. So right
Exactly.
till class 10th, actually till the first year of college, I wasn't really interested. I knew that we can create applications and all like in computers and create games out of it. So that to be like another thing that games were like the first entry point for me to get into the software development. So basically, I started building some games first, and then that's how I kind of connected the two things. Because games I used to like. So basically, other than computers, so I was also fond of like video game consoles. So from that's where I was like gotten into games. So basically,
Awesome. Okay. Got it. And by any chance, when you were back in school, how much coding or how much, because nowadays when we come across a lot of people, they have done some bit of development while they were still in school. Was it the same thing with you as well, or did you have some exposure to development in school?
we did have a lengthy computer class in I think class 7th or 8th. So I think that from that point on, I got to know that there is some kind of language using which we can create applications. So yeah, from that point, I think that I was like exposed, but did not really find it interesting at that point. But yeah, I mean, so that is it. Like, not really have. I don't have any like good development stories, at least
Got
until
it.
college, actually.
Got it. So, if we talk about college, if we particularly talk about IIT Jodhpur, how was IIT Jodhpur? If, for example, you might have had the opportunity to visit other IITs as well, you might have other friends from other colleges as well. How do you see IIT Jodhpur? What kind of coding culture did it have? What kind of exposure did it provide you?
Yeah, so basically, it was a bit challenging for us. So basically, I am the second batch of IIT Jodhpur. So we just had seniors who were just 1 year older to us. So definitely it was challenging, and I basically I graduated in computer science. So we basically just had like 30 or 35 students at that time. So definitely it was just among us, and like our seniors and who were also of the same size. So basically, definitely it was challenging in the first few years to kind of we had to kind of start from the ground up. Although we were earlier kind of did our first year from IIT Kanpur, so they were kind of our mentor. So seniors from there helped us a bit, but most of the things we had to kind of figure it out ourselves. So it was definitely challenging, but I'm really proud of the things some of my batchmates they kind of initiated. So specific to computer science, if I talk, then they kind of many of my batchmates kind of took initiative to start some groups, some clubs where everybody can kind of maybe participate in coding contest and kind of work upon ourselves in kind of building our own skills around that. So definitely it was worthwhile seeing everything from the ground up. Generally in colleges, what happens is that the things are already established. So we just kind of join any existing community. But here, seeing all that right from the beginning, so that was really a good experience for me.
Got it. And see, I remember when we were back in college, we did not have a lot. I think I was 2008 to 2012, RP 2009 to 2013, not very different. There were not a lot of online resources back then. They were not like platforms like Interviewbit and Scalar did not exist, and many others. What was your go-to, online resource or reference? Unfortunately, I remember a lot of W3 school, which is
Right.
definitely not credited very highly right now. What was your place where you would always go and visit?
Yeah, definitely. W3 school was really the first thing that that I was referring from, and definitely books were there at the time.
Right.
So we had the algorithm course. So the Corman was our kind of a Bible. So like mostly by reading from books, we kind of acquired that knowledge of software development, of doing some, even I wouldn't say software development, I would rather say building a knack for solving some algorithmic problems. So books were the source mostly, at least during the first few years of college. Then later on, the other competitive websites came. Interviewbit. At that time, Interview Street. Now it's called HackerRank. So
Right.
that was CodeChef was another good website through which we can basically participate in some coding context. So yeah, right.
Okay. Now, if we move on from college to your professional career, you have seen different cultures. You have seen startups like Housing and Free Charge, and you are now with Microsoft for a very long time. How has your entire journey been? Like some instances, maybe from Housing, from Free Charge, from Microsoft, to give us outsiders some perspective what these three companies define and how different they might be from each other.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So housing. When I joined housing, so basically I joined a small team. So basically, housing had their headquarters. They still have their headquarters at Mumbai, but at that time they started a very small team in Bangalore. So I actually joined that small team in Bangalore at that time. So definitely it was a very different experience, given that we were just a team of six at the time, and so anything that was happening just among six of us. We had a lead, so any experience that I gained was only from through that lead. He kind of helped me understand the challenges of a company, like how in general, like what things we should focus on at that time. Being a fresher, so I did not have any idea. Just like I actually joined as a full stack web developer. So like mostly I was like good in some web development. I did not have any idea of like how we can leverage those things to kind of build any product, like any big product there. So yeah, so it was a very small team. Learned few things. Then after like 6-7 months only, I actually left the company. Basically, I wanted to start something of my own. So that went on for like a year. So I basically started with some of my batchmates, and with one of my cousins. So yeah, like tried a few things within that 1 year. I'll come to this part, like what went on, but after for some reasons, then I again kind of started looking for jobs, and I then joined Free Charge, which where the experiences was much richer, I would say, because at the time Free Charge was already a well established company. It has a very good product which was like all running, and it has a good team of products. It had a product team, it had a server team, it had a lot many marketing teams. So I get to kind of understand the different aspects of a company, which was missing during the housing days, given we were just six of us working remotely at Bangalore. So definitely learned a lot at Free Charge from the folks with whom I worked there. And then after I think 1.5 or 2 years, then again I parted with Free Charge and got an opportunity at Microsoft. Then seeing it like even at a much bigger scale. I mean, I'm still surprised like how huge Microsoft is. So definitely like still learning. I would say like 3 years is too less to kind of experience the company like Microsoft, like any big tech company. So definitely there is still a lot more to learn. And in the last 3 years, so I have basically switched teams also. So I have basically experience of working in like different teams with a where so within Freecharge we just had like one team. So here in at Microsoft there are like multiple teams we need to kind of coordinate with. So the scope is even much bigger. There are like not millions, there are like billions of users that Microsoft products serves to. So definitely that way the my journey has been really kind of worthwhile in terms of gaining experience.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for walking us through that entire journey, Girish. I'm just curious, like you mentioned, within Microsoft, you have moved, within teams, you have moved from one team to the other. Which teams have you had the opportunity to work with in Microsoft? User facing, enterprise facing, what has been that like?
Uh, yes. So basically, I started with Outlook team. I first joined the Outlook team, which is an email client of Microsoft. So definitely, it's a product for the enterprise as well as for the customers. So basically, the experience is both ways. So we are not just serving the enterprise customer, but in general, any user can basically use Outlook. So yes, I mean there are like different challenges there as well. And after Outlook, so I am now currently a part of Microsoft Teams. So it's another communication platform like similar to Slack. So here it's a different challenge. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Awesome. Now, I'm pretty sure that working at Microsoft has its own, has its own challenges. Large teams, a lot of communication, a lot of
Right.
product management. There are a lot more people who need visibility into what you're doing compared to a startup or compared to a younger company, where there are lesser number of stakeholders involved. Right. Despite all of this, sometime last year you reached out and we had this conversation about joining Scalar as a mentor. So, what led to that decision? What motivated you to maybe join Scalar Academy as a mentor and start working with some students?
Right. So basically, initially when I basically heard about the Scalar Academy, so I was mostly interested in like taking mock interviews initially, which I believe that not only would benefit the students. So basically, I take a lot of interviews at Microsoft. So definitely, I believe that students would benefit from my experience, from my inputs on like how what should be the mindset and how somebody should approach any problem in any interview. And at the same time, I thought that I would also be able to kind of practice some of the problems that I'll be asking. So basically, the reason was like both ways. So where I can also learn by practicing, by being practicing those problems, at the same time also kind of impart any of my experience of solving the problems and taking interviews. So that was my primary motive while joining the academy. But down the line, taking some more having some more mentors, trying to understand their problems, I got to know that there is a lot more to it actually. I'm really glad that I joined academy. Some of the aspect that I was missing when I joined Scalar again, that I got to find out later after interacting with students, and there are also some of the interns who are my mentees. So definitely, so I'm really glad to kind of join academy. Yeah.
Okay, so you were just walking us through your journey of joining Scalar. Sorry.
Yes. So basically, so when I heard about the Scalar Academy, so my primary motivation of joining the academy was to kind of take mock interviews, kind of help the mentees with their problems, and at the same time, I was thinking I would also be able to practice my algorithmic skills. So basically, my motivation was like both ways, where I can also share my experience with the mentees and help them with their problems, give my own inputs, and at the same time also benefit from that experience by also being able to practice it myself. But later, after kind of interacting with more mentees, so I got to know that there's a lot more to it. So basically, students can have a lot many different questions, not just technical but even a non-technical questions. So definitely, I got to know a lot even from that angle. So I'm really glad that I could discover those aspects of any mentor-mentee relationship, basically. So yeah, I'm really glad overall to join academy and kind of discover like different aspects of the relation. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. How many students are you currently mentoring with the academy?
So currently, three
Three
mentees. Yeah.
students, three mentees. Got it. Awesome. And when you were sort of going up in your career, when you were sort of learning in college, did you have mentors? Did you have people that guided you through the journey, or people you could look up to?
Yes, I mean, throughout my career, definitely, some of my seniors at Free Charge, my manager, Raghu, Ashish, they were really, really motivated me, also kind of helped me in kind of having that mindset to kind of approach anything in general. And throughout my school days, even throughout my career, I would say my cousin Gulshan, who is my main inspiration, I would say. So he's my older cousin, so he's also into the IT industry. So definitely, I kind of take inspiration from him as well. So yeah, in general, it has been like multiple people who kind of shaped up who I am. So not just in the professional industry, but even outside of it. Sumit is another of my school friend, so who is still in touch with me. So we exchange ideas, we kind of share things. So definitely, he's also kind of motivates me in a way. Yeah.
Okay. So moving on, like you said, you had a set of mentors back when you were working at Free Charge and people who guided you through your career. Based on your experience, and you have had experience across companies across years, how important do you think having a mentor is? How important do you think mentorship is? What role does a mentor play in someone's life?
In general, or you mean in the software industry?
In general, I think, like, in general, what importance does a mentor have? Like, is it really important to have a mentor, or can we just not have one and be okay?
No, no, definitely. I mean, everybody should have a mentor. I mean, there are things that we are not aware of. So definitely, somebody kind of start with some idea. I mean, they somebody can have any idea that they want to kind of explore further, but they are always kind of unaware of like how it would shape up when like applied in the real world. So everybody just have that idea in their mind. So mentor who is like more experienced than you can really walk you through those experiences, like how that idea that you have in your mind. So basically, it's then your job to connect that idea with what your with the experience of your mentor. So definitely, mentor is really important in kind of helping you connect those dots and kind of help you in the way ahead. So sometimes it may happen that because of certain hurdles that you are unknown of right now, which might demotivate you. So knowing about that as early as possible would really help you kind of like get past through it. So definitely, there mentors can really help you kind of picturize that path for you. So really, I really think, I really believe that everybody should have a mentor in general, like not just professionally but also personally.
Got it. Got it. Got it. And maybe for the benefit of everybody who has joined us on LinkedIn, on YouTube, you have been mentoring a set of students for a while now. Any moments of euphoria, or any moments of that satisfaction that you had about looking at the kind of impact that you're making? Sometimes during these conversations that you have with your mentees, anything that sort of made you realize, wow, man, I'm really, really making an impact.
Yes, definitely. So I basically, as I said, that my most like the motive of joining Scalar was to kind of take mock interviews and help the mentees kind of prepare from that angle. But slowly, after interacting more with the mentees, so one of the mentee, and also in general, also I think this is a very common problem any a mentee or any student or any fresher faces is that so they are basically stuck in a company where they are not liking the job as much, and at the same time they have complained that they are not getting enough time to prepare for DSLGO. So this was a question from one of my mentee, and also like had a similar question from someone else. So basically, they had this dilemma where whether they should find some extra time to prepare, or whether or maybe just leave the company and do the preparation full time. So I think that I was able to help the mentee there, like in terms of making that decision, like by going through like different factors personal to them. I'm really glad that I could like help the mentee there in terms of making that decision. And there was another mentee who is actually an intern in a company. So like he did not have like much problem with DSLGO, but being an intern in a company, he had some trouble with getting attention from his manager, and in terms of like communicating his intent better to his manager and to his mentor there. So I think that those discussions are really helpful. So not just like what a mock interview can like help, but in general I would say mentees can also understand from the angle of how somebody should like work in a team. So there are like multiple different aspects to when you're working in a team versus when you're working alone in a project. So I'm really glad that I could also help the mentees from that aspect as well.
Got it. Okay, awesome. And all of your mentees, are they from colleges? Are they experienced professionals? Are they working somewhere?
So uh, like I had a few mentees earlier. So they were still in a college. So they
Mhm.
had other problems, and some of the mentees are like interning. I have like mix of both basically.
Got it. So you have seen basically different personas and different kind of challenges that people face. Got it.
Yes.
Maybe you would be fit to give advice or maybe share some words of wisdom as you have seen different personas. What would be your advice to people who are just starting their career in software development, or people who are just getting started with this whole journey, or even people who are still in colleges, people who are still learning and want to build a career eventually? Like Microsoft is definitely one of the dream companies that people think about. Even when we'll go through questions, there are a lot of Microsoft related questions as well. So what would be your word of advice to future mentees, future learners, future engineers?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, right after you step into the corporate world, so definitely, like initially, the focus is not much on being a team player, or maybe so basically we should, as we kind of step into the corporate world, we should like maybe sooner if we can start thinking about the whole team, like how your effort in making like developing something is kind of helping the overall project. So the sooner you kind of think from that angle, better it would be. So working alone in a project is very different than working within a team, especially a big team. So definitely, if we can start, I mean, definitely I agree that somebody has to be really good at like the tech or any framework that they're using. But at the same time, it's also really important to be able to convey your thoughts, your approach within the team, getting the inputs, and being able to deliver in a given time. So yeah, so that like not so basically along with the technical skills, so it's also important to have those soft skill and social skills as you kind of step into the corporate world.
Right. I think that is a very important point, because a lot of times what young aspirants do not understand is they say, "Yeah, I'm really good at problem solving. I am able to compete in all the contests and things like those. Why am I still not faring well in my software development career, or why am I even not clearing interviews?" I think a lot of it also has to do with interpersonal skills. When you are joining a company, you have to work with team, you have to work with a lot of individuals. You are being evaluated not purely on your programming skills, but you're also being evaluated on, are you a good team player? How well do you execute within a team? Did everybody who interviewed you even had a positive outlook towards you? A lot of
Right.
things are discussed, your energy levels during interviews and things like those. So I think those are things that we have to also look at when we are going through our career, and we have to make sure that even going through our career, these things are up to the mark. It's not just about that one day where we go and put our best self forward. Awesome.
Yes.
So maybe we can start taking some questions that we have. Okay. Chandra has a question: how to prepare for Microsoft, Amazon, and Google? What is the complete roadmap? I'm assuming that Chandra wanted to write complete. So what is the complete
Okay.
roadmap to prepare for Microsoft, Amazon, and Google? And I think these are the most common questions that people have: how to prepare for XYZ company. What would you like to say?
Yes. So here I would say that especially Microsoft, Amazon, Google. So basically the focus is not much on any specific tech. So if you are a good Java developer or any framework, you are good at React. So as a fresher, these big tech companies do not really care about how good. So the more focus is around like problem solving mostly. So whenever you're preparing any so definitely, so the focus is more around being able to solve the DSLver problems, which are like more aligned with where the interviews can basically test your problem solving skills. So definitely, I mean, like focus on like trying to find the patterns within any data structure or any algorithm that you're following, and like being able to apply the right data structure when any question is asked, and at the same time being able to explain properly the approach. So many times what happens is that the candidate can be really good at like solving the problem with a good time complexity, space complexity, but lacks in kind of explaining the approach properly. So definitely when anybody is when anybody is preparing for Microsoft, Amazon, Google, so just try to understand in a deeper sense about the problem, not just go through and solve the problem. Like maybe like think of every problem from like different angles, and also the any of the approach that you're following to solve those problems. And yeah, so that's high level. Yeah.
Okay, very, very well said, Girish. I think just to add on to that, more on there are a few do's and don'ts that we discuss at Scalar Academy in interviews. One of them is definitely don't jump into solving the problem. The other is be very vocal about your approach. Discuss your approach throughout the entire conversation. If you have any doubt, or if you have any let's say lack of clarity, ask more and more questions to your interviewer. Those questions are supposed to be vague to initiate a conversation. See, you have full freedom to have a conversation around them. Till the time you're not directly asking for hints, it's never really challenging, and that also helps people understand how you think. So yeah, I think
Yes, I
that
want to add to that. So yeah, definitely when preparing, when anybody is like going through the list of problem. So when you like pick one, so like, as you mentioned that before jumping to the code, like maybe go through some of the cases, like some boundary test cases that you should kind of eventually kind of try run your approach. So in general, like right in the beginning, before even jumping to the code, make sure you have the complete clarity of the problem. So a simple exercise you can do is like whenever you just look at the problem once and try to get the most out of it, and then just keep the problem away. What happens is that while coding, we continuously kind of look at what like the internals of the problem, but in the interview we do not get that time. The interviewer will just speak about the question once, And if you kind of in between kind of ask for any clarity about the question, so that's really a downside for you. So definitely try to grasp the problem right in the beginning.
Right. Great. Before we jump into more questions, other questions, there is a follow-up question that we have from Chandra. We'll just take that and then, we'll go to. Is competitive programming compulsory for getting a job in FANG companies? What's your take on that?
I wouldn't say. I mean, it's very much aligned with the interview problems, but I wouldn't say it's a necessary thing. I mean, going through. So I would say that interview problems are like much different than competitive program problems. So and both are kind of judged in a very different sense also. So with competitive programming, like you are not supposed to explain your approach. You just have to kind of quickly go through your approach and just try to solve it in the best complexity possible. But when we are kind of doing some interview problems in front of an interviewer, so the clarity of the code also matter, which doesn't matter much while doing some competitive programming problem. So you need to have your structure. You should be naming your variables properly. So that actually will add a benefit to the way you are kind of solving those problems. So with competitive programming, you can basically afford not to have not to kind of pay any attention to how you're coding. You just need to make sure that it works right. So here you also need to kind of explain the approach properly, have a proper, meaningful, also to bring clarity in your code basically. So yes, so that's a different skill altogether, I would say.
Right, of course. Okay, now moving on to another question. So there's a question that we have from Gulshan. How is working at Microsoft different from startups like Housing and Recharge? And I can already see a huge smile on your face. Yeah.
I think you might have connected the dot. He is my cousin.
Oh, okay. Do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's very much relevant to the topic, and also others could benefit from the answer here.
Sure.
So yes, I mean, working in a big tech company like Microsoft is like a completely different world, like compared to working at Housing and Free Charge. So I would say that at Microsoft there are like a lot many teams, and so you need to basically not just interact with your peers who are basically tech savvy already, but there are even like multiple stakeholders who are coming from a different background. There's a product team, there is a design team. I'm not saying that it is not applicable to any startup, but the scale of that is much bigger at a company like Microsoft, where there is a rich team of like a lot many members in different types of teams. So here, so basically, any work that is kind of given to any task that is given to you, so you just not have to develop that particular task. You just do not have to just code it. You basically also have to think from different angles from the product point of view. You also need to kind of defend your approach. So you would also have to kind of handle criticism from your peers. So which is kind of in a way a constructive criticism, because so I'm assuming that in a tech company, a big tech company like Microsoft, so basically most of the products are already kind of stable, and it has kind of acquired lot many users. So definitely any feature on any task anybody is working on, so it has to be kind of developed from many different angles. Before even getting into development, we need to make sure of all the different scenarios, all the edge cases, not just technically but also from the product point of view. And so that's where I believe that many has this misconception that in big companies the pace is little slower, the development pace is little slower. I would say that that amount of time actually goes in kind of finalizing that the holistic approach of your task. So that's where I would say the most of the time goes, and it's really important to give the time there, because a product which is well established and being served to like millions, not just millions, I would say billions of users. So if anything go wrong later, that can basically the product cannot afford anything like that. So we need to be really good right in the beginning. We need to make sure of all the things from every different angle, from every different edge cases. So that's where I would say the most of the time goes. And unlike in startup where there is no lot of baggage, so development can be much faster. But compared to that, in big tech companies, you basically have to spend a little more time in kind of making sure of those different angles. So that's how I would say the difference between the two different models. Yeah.
Got it. Just like an extension of the question, would you choose one over the other?
No, not really. I mean, both are really required. Like sometimes, like if you are good at kind of good with your communication skill, you can basically convey your ideas better, and you are able to defend your work. Then, but at the same time, you also so the work that you're doing, so you need to be also be good at that, right?
Right.
So development wise, so any tech stack that you're working on, so being able to defend your work requires that expertise in that tech as well. So these I would say these are like two verticals, and anybody aspire to have a great career. So both are really required. So I mean, like in a big tech company, we get to experience like both the aspects, but the pace is big tech companies can be a little too process oriented, so which can basically hinder the process. But it basically depends from team to team within Microsoft as well. Like every team has different flavors, I would say. So it also depends on that. It's up to you, like what you want your next target. If you think that you want to get better at some tech stack, then startups would be better because you get the opportunity to kind of develop at a much faster pace. But if you want to kind of being able to work on some existing product where you want to kind of communicate your thoughts better, where you want to kind of think everything from every angle, then a big tech company is better. And I would say that any startup, like if they are growing, so someday they need to kind of face that situation, because they would also kind of have that baggage of kind of serving the existing customer. So even they would kind of reach that level where even they would not be able to afford any mishaps later. So
Right.
yes,
Right.
so, yeah, both are really required to have a successful career.
Right. And I think it's also a bit of a personal choice because many times we see people who move out of a startup because that startup has gone a bit too big, and there are a lot of team involved, and now they are looking for another smaller startup where again the contribution feels more impactful and more in depth. Awesome. We'll take one more question from YouTube, which is this one. Uh, there's an account called Cube Makers. They have a question for us. I'm from a small college. Can I get a job at Microsoft? Again, that is, I think, a very common belief that you only need to be from an IIT or a triple IT or an NIT to get a job at top companies. What do you think about this particular belief or this particular idea?
Yeah, I mean, frankly, yeah, definitely, it's a bit difficult to get the visibility. I agree that still, like in our industry, the more focus is given to the candidates who are from like IITs, NITs, and it's a bit difficult to even get that visibility when anybody is from a tier two, tier three colleges. So there, I would say that. Like somebody who is actually looking for a job at Microsoft. So basically, they can try to build up that portfolio. Maybe try working. Yeah, I mean, first of all, yeah, definitely anybody like even from a small college can definitely get a job. Just that the way to get the visibility would be a bit different. So, and to get the visibility, maybe showcasing some projects, contributing on GitHub, having your own like yeah. So those things can really bring you back in the industry where anybody you're approaching, if you have some cool projects to showcase, then anybody would be interested. Not just like some other countries, but like Microsoft, Google, Amazon. Definitely, I'll be interested. I mean, if anybody can show me any cool projects that they have worked on. So yeah.
Right, right. I think that is also one of the conversations that we have internally with our students. And maybe if you could probably add a few words there as to, let's say, if I'm somebody who does not have any projects in his resume as of today, how do I build that beautiful resume that any company would be interested in talking to me? And how long does it usually take? Maybe a few words on that, and then.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can first like choose whichever tech stack you want to start with, get comfortable with it. So I can tell you my story. So actually, I was placed from the off campus. So I was placed off campus. I did not get any job while I was at college. So little right after college, I kind of applied off campus, and I had some of my own projects to kind of showcase. So definitely anything that you're interested in. So I was really fond of, as I mentioned, that I was fond of games. So I created a very simple game in HTML5 and participated in some global competition, and was able to kind of get a good rank there. And still that particular game is live in that competition website. So and that was really that really helped me kind of get that attention. And there was another project. So I'm actually also fond of movies. So like watching, I used to watch a lot of movie series during my college time. But I was struggling with finding a right movie which is suitable for me. So I used to follow like IMDb website to kind of get the right movie of my taste, but I found it a little limiting in a way. So basically, if I wanted to filter that, I wanted to only watch some movies which have of particular genre, which has kind of a certain a text in their description. So what I did was I kind of created a web crawler where I kind of crawled all the movie pages of IMDb and kind of made my own a simple processing logic where I was kind of searching through all the description text in all those movies. So I actually kind of open source this project on GitHub. It's still available there. So definitely, so whenever I had the opportunity, I was showcasing these two things, and that really helped me get that visibility. So yeah, so definitely, whatever small problem that you're facing in your personal life, maybe you can try to codify that. For me, it was like movies trying to find a better taste. So I kind of try to connect the two ideas so that I can also at the same time be interested in developing that. So yeah, so that really helped me.
Got it. Got it. I think that was a really, really wonderful story. Great. I think we have also heard one similar story where somebody codified their coffee machine to make sure that the coffee is always ready by the time. I think it's a famous LinkedIn or WhatsApp story. I can't remember. Okay, I think this is a question that I think a lot of youngsters have when they are building their career. SD1, SD2 is something that people have clarity upon. What does internal levels look like? What other levels are there in Microsoft?
Uh, yeah, I mean, after that, there is a senior principal distinguished. I mean, the hierarchy is huge. I
Yeah,
mean, last I saw that Microsoft has like 1.5 lakhs employees, so
wow.
you can now maybe get the scale of it. So above me, it's a big hierarchy. So there are like senior developers. After that, there is a principal developers, and after that, distinguished developers. I mean, I'm just talking about the individual contributor roles. Where so basically, I mean, at Microsoft, we can grow in like two ways. One is a managerial path where you eventually try to become an executive, where you are kind of trying to deal with things from a manager point of view, and another is where you can remain individual contributor but with a much larger impact. You can basically in the direction of becoming an architect.
Right,
So
right.
yes, so these two paths kind of folks from a senior level.
Got it. And I think this is more, again, there will be a lot of Microsoft related questions, because I think that is one of the dream companies that people think about. So, for example, Google is very famous for CodeJam and Kickstart. Does Microsoft also have similar coding contest slash content that people should look for?
I wouldn't say there is any kind of a centralized and organized content. It might be scattered across, but yeah, I mean, like Google, Microsoft doesn't kind of. I mean, as far as I know, so there is no any like centralized place where like all the problems are kind of listed. Yes. So basically, the our motto in general, the Microsoft motto is like empowerment. So each team within Microsoft is kind of empowered to a certain to a large extent to take their own decision to how what they want to see in a candidate, how they want to conduct interviews. So having a centralized common set of content doesn't really work in such a structure. So each team in a way has that basically anonymity kind of to kind of conduct their own set of interviews and see and judge based on their own qualities that they want to see in the candidate.
Got it. Okay. We'll move on to the next question from Himanshu. Himanshu has a question around general career trajectory. Would it be a good idea to work for a product-based startup as an intern in third year? If there are a few startups that you would like to recommend to him that he should probably start aiming for.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, it's a good idea to work in any company if you are interning in third year. So definitely, like if you are interested in pursuing from the product side, you are like basically interested in solving some real life problems. So products, in a way, kind of try to solve like the real world problems. So yes, definitely. If you want to grow in that perspective, so yeah, product based startups would be a way to go. And like some good startups, I would say like there are a lot of good startups. I mean, depends on like which ones. Like I would say maybe Misho, Dunzo. These are some Bangalore based startups which I really like. I mean, it's a my personal opinion like about like what kind of problems they're trying to solve, but any problem, I would say, Himanshu, if you are interested in, and like if a similar problem is kind of solved by any startup, so definitely go for that. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. We have another question, which is around preparation, around development. Yash is asking, what are some good sources to learn full stack web development from?
Okay, so I mean, here I would say that there are a lot many online good sources these days. I mean, definitely doing some course on Udacity, Coursera, or Udemy, so that would really help. So I mean, if anybody is kind of struggling with the discipline, so definitely do some course. And other than that, I mean, most of the time, what happens is that we already have ideas about some of the aspects of web development or in general full stack development. We want to kind of try to understand just a part of it. So definitely there are good uh, technical articles covering web development. Medium is one source where I try to find some communities within Medium who are kind of consistently kind of publishing the full stack development specific. So I'm more into Android development. So I
Okay.
mostly look into that in that area. But in general, so yeah, definitely doing a course would be better if you are starting from the beginning. And like if you already know some part of it, then definitely looking for some specific material would be beneficial by doing just simple plain Google search. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay, this is more of a broader question. I would try to probably streamline it in interest of time. So Gaurav is asking, what did you observe during mentoring the students at Scale Up? Maybe we can. I think the question here is more around the what kind of challenges do people face? What kind of help do students need? Maybe if we can share some experience on that front, that would be helpful for Gaurav. I think he's in the, as his name suggests, he's in the fourth year of BTech Metallurgical Engineering. So I think some pointers that can help him.
Yes, definitely. It's like many mentees can face like problems from like many different angles, not just technically but also like non-technically. So basically, it may happen that while practicing some problems, like some like students can maybe encounter a problem, a very difficult problem. So that can also have a potential to kind of demotivate them, which can basically also hurt like them internally in a way that they are not able to even solve those problems. So just make sure that while practicing, don't try to be like too hard on yourself. So try to practice from like different types of problems without kind of judging yourself. Just try to like if you are stuck at some problem, just try to find a similar problem but of a easier level, and then slowly kind of build up from there. So that is something which many students kind of miss, that mindset, that you are still at a learning stage. It's okay to kind of get stuck at some point. So but never kind of but keep moving on. So that's one thing. And other is while doing some basically while giving interviews. So I have took a lot of mock interviews. So there I kind of found some of the things, as Saurabh also you mentioned that sometimes they do not kind of speak loudly about their approach, and sometimes they are stuck at a problem, then they do not even try harder after that. So it's okay to kind of get stuck. So interviewers, I mean, would actually give some hints in between. And we should all never always take that as a negative thing, because sometimes the problem can be really hard and the interviewer was already kind of expecting to provide some hints. So it's okay if you get any hints. So you just continue to build up from there. So whatever checkpoint you're getting where you already know something or you do not know at all, just always have that spirit of just moving on right from that, building up after that. So yeah. So that particular thing I see missing in some of the students, that when they are stuck, they just kind of just lose hope out of it. So don't worry. So try to take some hints and then kind of start from there.
Right. I think in my experience, also just to add on to what you have beautifully put together, most of the time it's a lack of clarity, it's lack of direction, it's lack of understanding on why what's happening is happening. Right.
Right. Yes.
It's just how the system has built us. We are all supposedly we are all in the top 10 students from our schools, and then we reach our colleges where we're not even in the top 15, 20, 25, 30. And then we have been, to put it very brutally, we have been given candies and appreciation for achievements that are very short of when it comes to demand and supply in the job market, or in terms of careers. And we are all good as on our own, but when we are put across a lot of other competitors in a interview room, that's where we start faltering. And at that time, a lot of us need guidance, a lot of us need clarity as to why we are not able to succeed in our career. Many times, why do I need to talk to my team? Why do I need to be this way when I'm why do I need to be available in everything if I'm doing my job on time? A lot of things, and I think that's where a lot of younger, newer developers, or any role across all roles, sales, be it marketing, be it operations, people feel lack of clarity. If I'm doing my job, I'm doing my job, and that's it. And I think that's where a lot of our experience comes into play, making sure we help all our students in tackling the challenges that they're facing on a day-to-day basis, ensuring that they're able to steer clear in throughout all of this. Okay, moving on to more lighter questions. How frequently can you switch teams in Microsoft? I think you spoke about moving between teams in Microsoft. Is that something that you can do every month? Is that something you can do once a year? How does that work?
No, I wouldn't recommend switching teams within months. I mean, nothing happens really within months. Like,
Right.
so, I mean, it's okay. I mean, sometimes it happens that we make a wrong choice after switching a team. I mean, later we kind of discover that the kind of work that you were expecting, it's not what you expected. It may happen. So definitely, like it's okay if you kind of switch the team like immediately. Like first of all, I definitely like having a honest conversation with your manager there to kind of ensure that what you were expecting is actually not there. What like how basically so it actually depends on that. I mean, if and sometimes if you have been in a team for over a year or 2 years, 3 years, and you want to kind of explore something else, and definitely, I mean, Microsoft has a really good culture. So where like anybody is like free to switch teams. HR will help you there. Your manager. So let me tell you, like my previous manager. So I parted with a really good terms. He still kind of we still meet like regularly, like talk about things. I wouldn't say it's frequent. I mean, if you really after like switching, if you really like the work there, so like nobody would want to switch there. But at the same time, the employee has that flexibility to kind of be able to switch teams.
Right, right. And I think one of the main factors here is that the grass is always greener on the other side. So,
Yes.
to put like again, अपना manager सबसे ज़्यादा खड़ूस लगता है. So you feel like the other team has it better. They are doing better things. They are creating more impact. They are doing better things. Yeah. Sorry.
So I want to add there. So definitely here the culture is so good that before even moving to a different team, so you can actually set up a time with that manager and kind of have a one-on-one discussion where you can actually ask some deeper questions about the work culture, the project they are working on, so that you can be more confident about switching.
Right.
So I really like that culture at Microsoft where it's very friendly, even among teams, and where you can basically explore some other opportunities. So if you think that grass is greener on the other side, then definitely try to kind of figure it out yourself by talking to the team members of that team. So that way you can be like more confident about it.
Right, right, right. Definitely, I think be 100% sure before making these
Right.
movements. You need to be very, very clear. This is more of a high priority question from Mihir. He has an interview with Free Charge tomorrow for a general software engineering role. Any tips that we can safely suggest?
To be frank, I mean, features has kind of transformed a lot in the last 3 years. I think the whole most of the team members have left. So basically, Kunal Shah earlier uh, kind of started Free Charge. Then Snapdeal kind of acquired it when I joined, and now
Right,
Axis Bank. So now Axis Bank basically owns Free Charge.
right,
So things are much different now, and I don't think I hardly know very few people there, and so it's very much depends on who the interviewer is. But I would recommend some like basic tips, like as Saurabh you also mentioned that try to get the clarity right in the beginning about the question, speak loudly, also try to have the clarity while coding anything, be clear while explaining any code. So yeah, so those are
right.
the general tips I can go with. Yeah.
Right, right, right. A few things that we practice is always be nice, be polite, be humble. It's okay to have disagreements, but it's not okay to have arguments. Uh, Always try to voice out your entire approach. Whenever a problem is provided to you, you have about 40 to 45 minutes to solve it. Uh, Given the proper structure of clearing doubts, like let's say you get the question, you ask a few questions, you clarify some doubts, then you do a dry run before jumping into the code. If you are able to do it in 30-35 minutes, uh, given that the opportunity of a second question is there, that again helps you score some extra brownie points. because while in the time somebody is able to solve just one problem, you have actually done one, and now you're even discussing about the second one. So again, in general, just be confident, be vocal, be nice, be humble, discuss your thoughts, discuss anything that you have doubts around. Don't jump into writing code. Don't directly jump into saying this is how it's done and that's the end of the story. Yeah. So we have a question from Himanshu around Kaggle competition. How to start Kaggle competition? I think this is going to take a small time. So yeah.
I I mean, I'm not like much familiar with the platform, but yeah, I think it's more. I think the question is more relevant to like how to solve any ML specific problems, or in general, like where basically the challenge is to kind of identify patterns by looking at the data, and being able to kind of map that with the, or maybe able to like predict some of the data. So there I would say that, yeah, I mean, so before getting into the competition, maybe trying some sample problems would really help, I would say. And also try to build that knack for like identifying different types of patterns that we can see in any data. So let me tell you, like in any kind of domain, I would say that there are a lot many patterns which are applicable to many problems. So maybe like try to build that knack for finding those patterns, and try to kind of map them with the actual problem. So whenever any like problem is you encounter any problem, try to kind of first connect with your own ideas about your own learnings, how you can use that to kind of solve any problem. So yeah.
Right, right. Of course. I think Kaggle, just like any other platform, it's purely about persistence. It's more about making sure that you are doing it regularly. Any competition that you enter, whether it's Kaggle, whether it's CodeShip, whether it's Code Forces, doing one or the other once in a blue moon does not help. You have to be regular. You have to maintain a certain streak. Something that we also try to do at Scale or Interview Bit is we really reward streaks. So for somebody who's coming every day for 21 days, 30 days, 45 days, we reward them in one way or the other to make sure that you're basically persistent, you are regular. Whatever you're doing, if you're regular at it, it gets better.
Yeah, just want to add a quote also. So practice is the key, and I would say that basically you need to work hard, and even talent. Basically, talent wouldn't really matter. So talent also has to kind of work hard at the end of the day. So even having a talent is just one part of it, but regular practice can really even beat the talent who doesn't work hard.
Exactly, exactly. And I think the next question that I'm going to put on the screen is from Yash Roth. Again, a very similar tone. You have Yash has recently joined college. He's in second year. A lot of us in the first couple of years, if we have not done well, we start losing hope. And Yash also has a similar question. What would you like to say to those who have not performed extremely well so far and eventually want to get into good companies? What should they start working on? How should they start fixing things?
Okay, so basically, I mean, so the academics has basically lot many different subjects. So mostly, I mean, okay, I mean it's fine that maybe later in the college years. So basically, maybe like focusing more on the algorithmic course, or focusing on algorithmic problems, and trying to build up your knowledge around that. I mean, if you're like basically trying to build the knowledge around that would be really helpful to get into some decent companies. So basically, if you are able to sit for any companies in the on campus, so definitely they won't judge you much on your courses that you took other than the computer science, related course. So definitely, I mean, even after that, anybody can study those courses again, or especially build their knowledge around it. So it's okay, I mean, if you were not able to do well during that course, but later on everybody has that opportunity to kind of learn more about that and kind of excel in any company.
Right, right. I think at second year, third year, like, you still have time. Even after starting your career, you still have time. There's always time for corrections. This is a very interesting question. Very rarely do we come across such questions. Everybody wants how to interview for these companies, but Karan Kumar is asking a very important question. How do you know that you are ready for interviews? Uh, I think that is also something that we preach, that getting an opportunity is easy. You send your resumes to the right people and you would get your foot through the door. How do you make sure that you are good on that opportunity? How do you make sure you're not going to waste it?
Okay, so here I would say that definitely having some experience of giving an interview would really help you figure out like how far you have reached. So here I would say that Scalar Academy is really doing a good job where where like before giving a real interview, so students can get the opportunity of kind of testing themselves and kind of figure out like where they lag actually. So like I would say that being at home, it's really difficult to kind of figure out without giving any interview. Like if you are really there, so definitely maybe try to. I mean, in person, maybe try to find somebody who you know and approach them. Or if you do not have anybody, then yeah, Scalar can help fill that gap for you. So yeah, so there are a lot many resources, materials, given that there are mentors, there are instructors who can help you to kind of prepare. And so from that, from any inputs that they are giving, so from that, those are really good inputs using which anybody can judge whether they are ready for the interviews.
Right,
So yeah.
right. Awesome. Okay. We have a question from Sukanya around your interview with Microsoft. If you had a bar raiser round, how was it? What is a, maybe for the rest and for the uninitiated, what is a bar raiser round?
So I think the definition may differ from company to company, but generally, bar is a round is for somebody who is like a little more experienced, who are like in the industry for at least 3-4 years. So here with the bar is a round, basically the company kind of judges you on the basis of your skill level. So it sometimes it may happen that you were giving the interview for some role, but after certain rounds it got to know that you are actually a way better. So maybe the bar raiser can basically help the company better gauge you in terms of where you would be more suitable.
Right.
So in a way, I mean, so bar is around might have more tougher questions. If you're able to crack them, then maybe you can get a higher role, or maybe some adjusting can be done based on those rounds. So this is like one aspect of the bar is a round which I'm aware of. So yeah, so it's where like it's more even in with the freshers. I'm not sure how that can be applicable, given that everybody kind of start from the ground up. But it may happen that some of the students, some of the new joiners are really good at something, and so yeah, this bar raiser round can really help the company to kind of determine the correct position in the company.
Right. And how should one prepare for such a bar raiser round? Is there any given way that one can prepare for it?
So bar is a round is generally happens after other set of rounds. So it mostly you will be giving it mostly when you have cleared all the other rounds, and so after that, so such rounds are very open. So where the problems can be like might be difficult, and where a candidate has to think from many different perspective. And so yes, I mean these are kind of a more of a challenging problems where your kind of a general problem solving skills can come in handy, where like how you approach any problem, any unknown problem. So what happens most of the time is that many of the problems you have already kind of practiced, or maybe like part of it you already know, but but it's really important, like how you behave, what your mindset is when you kind of encounter some really unknown problems. So in the bar racer round, the problems are really rare. So I would say we should kind of build that skills where you kind of need to kind of prepare from the point of view where some like very unknown problems can come to you.
Right. Maybe even go above and beyond. And let's say if you are aware that Amazon usually covers these topics, maybe go to this level. And let's say if you're aware, hypothetically saying that DP is not covered in an interview at Amazon, hypothetically saying that still prepare for DP, still prepare for graphs, still prepare for all the things. I think that's the only way to be prepared for a bar raiser, to know everything holistically, so that whatever is sprung at you, you are aware and you are well prepared to tackle it nicely.
Yeah, I mean to uh, like keep it from the perspective of the course, then you can say it's a problem which came out of syllabus.
Yeah, yeah. How prepared are we for out of syllabus problems, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's the idea.
Awesome. I think we have already covered it once, but I think maybe we can just give it a quick overview. Subhan from LinkedIn has asked us if we can give a roadmap to the students from tier 3 colleges to join big MNCs. Maybe we can give a summary on how can people prepare for that.
Like definitely, I mean, if you want to join some MNC, so there are like both aspects are required, like not just being good technically. So also try to kind of like try to get the idea about the problems, like try to explain, like maybe like find somebody to kind of explain those problems so that when during the interviews, so those skills can be handy. Like this is a roadmap, like other than like going through each of the areas like stacks, queues, linked lists, all those problems, maybe have a prioritized list there. So definitely there are certain set of problems which are asked frequently. Maybe kind of practice those problems first and practice them thoroughly. Try to find like similar problems first before jumping to some other type of problems. So I would say try to approach from that. So like in a algorithmic sense, go like a depth first search where you kind of trying to get a complete information of one type of problems before kind of jumping to another set of problems. So I would say slowly like build up from there, and at the same time also kind of try to solve those problems like faster, because the time is also of the essence. So yes, and from the non-technical point of view, try to get the clarity in the problem in one go while practicing, and try to think from multiple angles. Try to think of different edge cases that you
Right.
may need to cover on those problems. So yeah, this is from the preparation point of view, and from the non-technical point of view also. You can basically prepare where you can explain the problem, maybe practice yourself or maybe practice with others, where you are kind of trying to explain others about your approach. And if you are able to explain that problem to somebody else, then yeah, you can give yourselves a pat on your shoulder. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Again, we have a lot of questions. Even though we have past time, we'll just probably cover a couple of them. I see a bunch of questions on competitive programming. I'm just going to take one of them that summarizes everything. Generally, why do people struggle in competitive programming, and how can they overcome?
Okay, so I think competitive programming kind of covers many different areas of problems. So, I mean, queue, stack, linked list, DP are just one aspect of it. And some of the competitive programs are like much harder than the level required in any company interviews. So I would say that it also depends on the website and the level of competition. If we see like a top players, like top programmers who are really good at it, so definitely, I mean, it's I would say it's more like a computer program is more like a sport, where like lot many programmers throughout the world in a way kind of contest and it's the organizers they need to kind of provide some really challenging problems so that they can kind of identify the good the best programmers. I mean, I wouldn't say programmers, but best basically the people who are good at solving those computer program problems. But let me tell you, like, they are really different than what are the problems which are being asked in any interview problems. So there, I mean, if you want to get much deeper there, and so mostly I would say any programmers struggle there because they don't have that vast knowledge of like different type of techniques, like different types of areas. So it's a company program in general, I would say, cover like lot of different areas. So if somebody really want to pursue in that direction, so practice is really of the essence. And it's like, and practice in like many different areas. I mean, if you because the problems can be from very different areas there. So yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll try to just cover one or two questions before we let you go. So I think there are some questions. Aditya has asked a bunch of questions on opportunities in Microsoft. We also have a few other questions on how should a service based company developer apply for Microsoft, or what should they start preparing on. To just maybe summarize it, in general, irrespective of where do people come from, how should they start preparing for Microsoft? What kind of job opportunity do we see this year in Microsoft? Is Microsoft looking at hiring? Is it going to hire a high number? What visibility do you have? What can you share with our viewers today?
So yeah, I mean, it's very unfortunate that we are going through this COVID situation. But on a positive note, Microsoft is still hiring. Like, actually, many companies are still hiring who mostly have their product which are like purely online, not specific to operations. So definitely, those companies are like still hiring. So I am a part of a Microsoft Teams, so which is a online communication platform. To be frank, so we see a lot of activity in the past few months, given that everybody is kind of working from home now
Right.
and
Right.
using any communication online communication tool that they can hang on. So we are seeing a surge in any online application, given that everybody is now working from home. Given that there is still activity going on in those products, so definitely teams there are still looking for more candidates who can basically help them kind of scale the operation to that level. So definitely nothing to worry there. Still, I would say that we our industry is kind of unique in that sense that we can still work from home. With the companies which are not operation heavy, where the any physical not related to any like physical things, so definitely there the openings are still there. Even recently, in the past week, so we had this new joinee in our team and also a new intern. So yeah.
Great, great, great. I mean, I think a lot of these companies are going into online hiring, online onboarding. At least now that deliveries and everything have started, people have also started sending laptops and machines and everything. For
Yes.
the month of April, that was also hard, but now luckily it's
Yeah,
a lot
actually,
easier.
I myself kind of requested the team there to get my workstation at home. So I just received it few days back.
Same here. I've just set it up recently. Great. I think I would just summarize a lot of other questions that we have. A lot of questions that are from people who started their career with service companies, right? And they often face challenges. So, for example, one such question is from Arvind Bhaskar. Is like he's been working in support projects in service companies for almost 3 years now, 3+ years now. Now, how does Arvind or anybody like Arvind move to a product company at this stage of their career? What can they do to make the switch right now? It's definitely a lot easier if you are in college, but it's not impossible. So, what would be the right steps for somebody like Arvind?
No, I would say that it's much easier for somebody who has some experience. So definitely in Arvind's case, having like 3+ years of experience that he gained from the service industry, definitely those things can be helpful. So like apart from being good at problem solving skills, getting better at DSLGO problems. So there are some rounds where the candidate is supposed to kind of explain the project that they work on. So like I would say that even when if somebody is working on a service based company, so definitely they are working on a product. Maybe they don't need to maintain themselves, they are basically kind of working on that product, then kind of maybe handing over to some the relevant folks, given that
Right.
they don't have to maintain. But during the development of that project, of that application, or of any feature within that, so definitely there's a lot of learning from that also. And maybe try to identify like some of the commonly occurring problems there. So I would say that those problems are also applicable in any product based company as well. So definitely from your experience, you can try to pick up from any project that you are getting in your current company. So try to like question, try to go deeper into like the approach that you're following, the do's and don'ts.
Right.
Try to like look at the problem from different angles. Definitely, there are some rounds of interview where your past projects are asked. So there, those learnings can be really helpful. I mean, if you are able to kind of be able to explain the approach that you kind of applied in your previous projects. So those are really plus points. Like the way you will be able to kind of explain all those things.
Definitely, definitely. And I think a lot of times we can also involve our open source contributions. We can also, for
Yeah.
example, many times the question that people ask is that my current role does not include any amount of development, right? And a lot of companies say that okay, you have been working for X amount of years, but what of part of your previous experience is even relevant? So I think a lot of open source contribution, a lot of projects that you have been doing on your own. I think, like you mentioned, creating a game, creating a repository by IMDb, and whatever interests you. Always. I think one of the best things to do is always make sure that you're highlighting what your interest is. Even if you go out of your way, out of your day-to-day job, ensuring that you are following your passion. Eventually, you will find a way to make it big there. Right? Great.
Yeah, I think I missed the point there that, yeah, it may happen that in your, as you mentioned, Saurabh, that some of the like employees do not getting enough opportunity to kind of work on some projects. So basically, so as you mentioned that like working on some open source project which you really like,
Yeah.
and kind of trying to go deeper. So one thing where you can learn more is kind of asking questions to people who are already working on those projects. So if you are kind of want to pursue some open source project, first like try to understand the existing structure, the existing code. And
Right.
for that, basically, we can create a ticket, we can create a task, we can create bugs on those open source projects. So those
Right.
would be the first pointers where the existing contributors of the project, so maybe try to reach out to them, or maybe ask so they definitely, all the source project, definitely they have forums where
Yeah.
they discuss about like their approach of any problem and why. So you will see lot many questions there, and just by reading through it, we can get a really good idea about like the problems that they're trying to solve with those projects. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. I mean, I think exactly what you said. Join these communities, sign up on these forums, make
Yeah.
sure because there are a lot of sayings that are actually very true. You are just as smart as the five people that surround you. You want to become somebody, you make sure that you are surrounded by those people. If you do not have access to such communities physically around you, thankfully in today's world, virtual communities are easily accessible. They are at your fingertips. You can join any and all community that you're comfortable with. For example, Scalar Academy is one community. there are hundreds of online forums and communities where people actively contribute to each other's career successes, each other's goals, and ensuring that you are part of one such community, and making sure that you are, or even more than one community, and making sure that you are contributing, you are picking up things from there. You will definitely learn a lot. Great. So I think that's more or less on the questions that we had from our viewers, or people who joined us on LinkedIn and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Any words that you want to probably say to them, Girish, before we end?
I think one thing for the viewers who are kind of preparing the DSA problem, so I would say that definitely like take good notes of whatever you're working on. Like not just take notes about the approaches, but also your weak points, your so any problem that you where kind of you are kind of stuck. So definitely take notes about like what was the issue there, or like how you kind of overcame there. So basically after few years down the line, so we kind of have to kind of continue to kind of practice this DSA problems. So those notes can really be handy when you are trying to again kind of trying to brush up on those problems at a later point of your career, where unfortunately maybe you would like to like switch jobs or maybe switch teams. So these DSA problems would again you would kind of have to prepare. So having those notes can really come in handy, would save a lot of time. So yeah, so anything you are just working on, so try to make like good notes, online notes where which you can refer maybe later also. So and in general, like keep practicing and have a growth mindset. So never like stop learning anything. So that is so it's like basically coming from like parents earlier used to say like beta like 10th kar le sab peaceful hai uske baad, no worries. Then after 12th again in class 11th you are like again there is another challenge, you need to kind of clear class 12th or maybe IIT exam, and people are like अरे chill मार college में chill करेंगे. Then after college again you have another challenge to kind of get a job, and people are like अरे job कर ले सब ठीक हो जाएगा. I mean I think yeah, just get out of that moh maya, and it's a never ending process. You need to kind of especially in our industry, I mean it's really important to have a growth mindset. So yes, I mean that's really important. So never stop learning and keep practicing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those words of wisdom. I think completely resonate with all of us. It's been 7 years for you. It's been roughly 7-8 years for me as well. You have to persistent. There is no relaxation if you want to keep achieving, or if you want to keep growing. It's just what you have to do. You have
Yeah,
to
you can take
keep the
breaks.
grind up.
I mean, yeah, in between you can take breaks, go on a vacation, but yeah, after
Yeah.
coming back, like just have that mindset
Back to the
to
grind.
reach the
Yeah.
next level. Yeah,
Yeah, back to the grind. Always make sure that you
right.
come back
Yeah,
110%. That will always be the key
and
to success.
actually, especially in our industry where the things are improving at a much faster pace, any tech tool that you're using today may go obsolete tomorrow. So it's all the more important, especially in our industry. So another general advice I would say: don't marry tech. Like don't marry the tech. So in general, try to find the real world problems. Try to kind of connect your ideas, the different like focus on problems rather than the tools of the problems, I would say.
Exactly. I mean, the core skills that you will be taking, because many times we get this question, which language do you guys teach in? And we say,
Doesn't matter.
it does not have any end result, right? What we help is building intuition, building problem solving skills. You can't teach one language and be away from the rest. It's about becoming better problem solver, and I think better problem solving skills is what you need irrespective of your job. Whether you're a software developer, whether, like, I'm not a software developer, but even one of the main key factors that comes into being good at operations is making sure that all the problems that your team is facing operationally, you are able to solve them. Sales or marketing, or even in sales, if you're facing a problem that you're not able to reach the right clients, how do you identify that? So you have to always be in the problem solving zone. You have to always be solving problems. And I think on that note, we would call it a day. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope we hope that you guys had a lovely session with us. If there's anything that you guys would like us to add on to, or if we can keep having a conversation in the comment section of the videos on YouTube as well as LinkedIn. Feel free to comment with your questions, comment with whatever suggestions you have for the next sessions, and we'll make sure that we include them. And whatever questions you can keep answering across social media, we'll keep answering them. With that note, have a good evening. Thank you so much, Girish. Again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for sharing your years of wisdom with us, and I hope it was helpful for all of them.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
Glad to do it. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.